photographer, whether you're working, for free or whether you're getting £10,000 gigs paid for you, buying a new camera is a big outlay.
I've always tended to have not very fantastic video specs generally, but of course you're looking to jump into doing video creation.
Depth of colours, the way the colours just seem more sharp, they're more intense colours.
If the camera is smaller and more fun to use, you're actually going to end up taking it out a lot more. Hello and welcome to Camera Central Podcast. Today you're seeing us in Roath Park because we thought it would be quite funny to do these podcasts in and about wherever we are. As usual, I'm joined by the beautiful Tom Wilkins, and today we're going to be talking about something that he's actually done a little bit more recently. So Tom, explain to us the situation.
So I was shooting on a very, very old DSLR. I am now shooting with a very new, shiny mirrorless camera.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And this mirrorless camera is, of course, the R6 Mark II, because you were in a 16 Mark II before, and you kind of just wanted to keep in with that kind of like Canon everything, really.
Yeah, I know Canon. I know there are a lot of other brands out there that are really good, but I knew Canon. It's all I've ever shot with, so...
Yeah. I mean, that's it at the end of the day. But this podcast today is going to be talking about the difference between mirrorless and DSLR, and should you switch? And I think it's going to be interesting from your perspective. So I think for the first thing is like, why did you decide to switch to using this?
Yeah, so there was a number of reasons. I think one of them was the video recording capabilities. It's definitely something I'm looking to get into more. I've got quite a few interviews lined up with different people, and I feel like the updated video recording capabilities was absolutely amazing. And then on the other side of that as well, I was having some difficulties with what I do on my day-to-day. So the focusing on the 16 Mark II, brilliant.
Yeah.
When you're paying attention to it.
Yes.
Obviously, I'm trying to record with my glasses. I'm trying to create good content. I don't want to be looking down at the camera for 5 minutes, or I'm trying to look at it as little as possible. And the difference that this makes with the kind of eye tracking and the autofocus is night and day, to be honest.
So I think it's something that a lot of people end up coming in touch with when it comes to their old DSLRs and should they switch. As it's sort of like, hey, my camera can actually produce great images, which it has done for you for a long time, and it's served you up until now. But when it comes to the mirrorless cameras, they do give you a lot more options when it comes to the new kind of lenses. And something that I would say that you've noticed in particular, and just from the messages that I had off of him from the night he actually had it for the first time, is the sharpness and the image quality.
Yeah, the sharpness and the image quality, the depth of colours, the way the colours just seem more sharp, they're more intense colours. The other thing I found as well, when there's a big difference in the light in the picture, so you've got really dark and really light spots with the old 16 Mark II, it was quite hard to find those midpoints, and they'd be almost blended out by the really dark and really light areas, whereas with this you get the whole spectrum of light, and it shows all of the shadow, all of the light at different levels really, really well.
So that's known when it comes to the spec as like the dynamic range of the camera and how many kind of stops you have, and that's something that you see again and again with these newer kind of mirrorless cameras, is the dynamic range is continuing to get a lot better. And I've noticed it in the photos that you've actually been producing now, where before you had kind of like a more compressed dynamic range to your photos, which kind of looked a little bit more grungy. Now you actually have a lot more depth in. This video is sponsored by puppies. They're so lovely, aren't they? The colour as well as the photos that you're producing. And it's not necessary, because when it comes to switching, you've got to really consider if it's right for you at that particular time, right? And the quality of the photos you're taking can only be really improved by skill and then tech to a certain extent, right? And I think you came to the point where you were at the stage of maybe it would be good to consider making, taking the switch into mirrorless.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, in terms of the quality of my photos, I think it's not necessarily that the photos that are produced are better every time. But what I found is that my style has changed slightly. So I've had to change the style of images and the way I'm editing them, because I feel like there's a lot more to the images now. So in terms of the dynamic range
Yeah.
example, and that has altered the way that I was editing the pictures. So you touched on it just then with the fact that my old photos from the old camera were a lot more grungy, and it was almost like 2D color.
Yeah.
So it was like blacks and whites rather than having the grays in there as well. And obviously my editing reflected that, and I really made the best out of that. Whereas now what I've noticed is that I'm starting to think more about how I can use the kind of increased dynamic range in the way I'm editing to really kind of bring out almost like the 3D side of it rather than.
Exactly, and I think your photos have only improved, and it's been really nice to see. So what are the main kind of questions that you had when approaching the idea of going into a mirrorless setup?
So I think the main one was what benefits is it really going to give me, and does it account for the added cost of having a mirrorless setup?
Yeah.
Which obviously the cameras themselves are quite a cost. The lenses as well, you know, they're substantially more expensive, and it was looking at how that was going to benefit me and whether that was going to be worthwhile.
Yeah, exactly. And when it comes to this kind of switch, there are three main benefits when it comes to when it comes to when it comes to this. There are three main benefits when it comes to looking at getting yourself a new mirrorless camera. The number one is EVF, which is something you commented on pretty much straight away when you started having a play with it. And the EVF is electronic viewfinder, so that allows you to see what the photo is going to come out like straight away. And I think that's going to be a benefit to you, especially because you're looking to do more night portraits as well. And understanding the light you get out of that given situation, I think, is a really important thing to do, and it allows you to step away from looking at the meter and really focus in there on the photography.
Oh, Stuart,
What?
come here for a minute.
Why?
We need to do the Black Friday video.
What Black Friday video?
For Camera Centre.
It's Black Friday?
It's Black Friday at Camera Centre.
What
What's the
does it
tagline?
I don't know. What does it need to involve?
So it's Black Friday at Camera
Yeah.
Centre, right?
Yeah.
So we need to promote the fact that it's Black Friday at
It's
cameracenteruk.com.
Black Friday at Camera Centre UK.
100%.
Is it .com after that?
Yes, it is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. .com, not .co.uk.
Are you
Okay.
guys talking about the Black Friday video you're meant to be making?
We are. Yes.
Yeah.
How's it going?
Currently in progress.
Nice, can't wait to see it.
Yeah.
Nice.
So
Come on, ideas.
make sure you get your deals,
Yeah.
right? We need to tell people that there are
ideas?
deals on. There's loads.
Yeah.
There's too many to count in one video.
Is there more than 5?
There's way more than 20. So
Way more than 20?
absolutely. So bear this in mind. We need to get all those facts down, and we also need to make sure that people know that it's right now.
What, this second?
As in, yeah,
Shouldn't we have already started it?
we should have, yeah. But hopefully this will be enough to get the message out there. Okay?
Okay.
Fantastic. On Facebook or Instagram or YouTube or wherever it is they're viewing it, it's what now?
Black Friday?
Yes, at
Camera Centre.
uk.com.
Yeah. Okay.
Brilliant.
It's Black Friday at Camera Centre UK.com. So make sure you check us out now. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see you soon.
they-
And bear in mind, we do free delivery and finance options and used equipment. So make sure you check out the website fully.
Should they like
Follow.
or do they subscribe?
They should be.
So as well, obviously looking at the meter is all well and good, but for artistic reasons, you don't always want the meter to be at the central point. So you can have that eye yourself through
Yeah.
the viewfinder of artistically, this is what I want to do.
Exactly.
So you know, and you can see it rather than trying to work out, right, this is going to look like this, I think, or.
Yeah, no, exactly, and then that's benefit one. Benefit two is that they tend to be a lot smaller as well, which means you're more likely to take it out, because at the end of the day, the best camera you have on you is the best camera you have is the one you have on you, and people tend to gravitate towards phones. But if you're actually going out and taking photos, it's actually a lot nicer to do that with a camera and try and kind of escape from using a phone, right? And if the camera is smaller and more fun to use, you're actually going to end up taking it out a lot more. And with the EVF on top of that, it makes that process just generally a lot easier. And then, of course, the third benefit is, of course, it's the newest kind of tech. You have great dynamic range pretty much, and also something that you've noticed is the ISO capabilities, and the low light, in terms of light grain reproduction of the sensitivity of the sensor has actually been really good for yourself.
Low light is really good, actually, being able to shoot in the evening. So for example, today, anyone who follows my page knows I'm always out in the daytime doing my stranger portraits, and that's just because it's a lot easier to get good quality photos. today I'm going to be out into the evening. There's a gig on in town. I'm going to get some low light stranger portraits because I know this camera is going to be capable of that. Whereas
exactly.
I struggled in the past.
Fair enough. And you know, when it comes to the choice that you made, the R6 Mark II, and there's a general entry level mirrorless cameras across the board, and you don't necessarily always have to go for full frame. You want to keep full frame because, of course, you're using it more professionally there as well. The R6 Mark II is absolutely fantastic, and we're actually coming off the launch of the R6 Mark III right now, and it's actually going to be interesting to see if we can get the camera back for us to do a comparison between the two. And of course, one of the other things you wanted to do was video capabilities there as well, because video for yourself is becoming more and more important, and that's something that, you know, mirrorless cameras are better at now. DSLRs always tended to have not very fantastic video specs generally, but of course you're looking to jump into doing video creation, and you know what you're looking to do with that. Why is that an important thing for you to decide to switch between mirrorless and DSLR?
So I obviously, with my content now, I am speaking to a lot of different people, and it's very short form. It's very much couple of seconds. Here you are. Let me take a picture of you. What I realize is a lot of people have quite, you know, they have stories. They have more that they want to say.
Yeah.
So that's something I'm going to start doing. I'm going to be introducing that onto my YouTube channel. So I'm going to be doing more long form interviews with people.
So you're probably asking yourself, why do photography? Well, it's just good for you. Yeah, it allows you to go out and about, take some photos, and really see the world in a different way. Rather than doing text to image, why don't you do click to image? See the world, take some photos. Doesn't even have to be a good photo. Everything's a good photo. It's just the experience that really matters.
And looking to kind of have interviews with people, finding out about real people.
Yeah.
And
I mean, it's all, photography is very much, you know, painting with light. That's the sort of like actual translation of what photography is. But it is very much telling stories and understanding things in that time. I actually came across an interesting video which talked about it in a little bit more depth, kind of, and that was the idea that a photo that you take is only ever going to be able to be taken at that time, because things these days, especially in modern society, change so rapidly. And especially with the people at the time, and what you do is you're capturing these people in a moment of time, and then they're never going to look like that again. I mean, they will for a time, but you know, they're never going to have that experience again. They're never going to be in that mood again or whatever.
I get people, obviously I get quite a few people where I'll see them again a month, 2 months later, and I'll do a stranger portrait with them again. And I'll usually add in a bit of the footage from the first time I've seen them. And the second time, there's always something different. It's, you know, the way they pose or the way they look. You know, and that's going to boil down to a number of things, you know, the physical, how they look. Obviously everyone changes all the time, but obviously how they pose, you know, that's very it's very emotional, so it could be based on what their attitude or how they're feeling that day.
Like exactly. So yeah, no, those are the main things really when it comes to what time are we on? Sorry, we're on 11 minutes. So those are like some of the decisions there that you've taken into account whilst looking to upgrade. And then the other thing is budget. Of course, you were waited for the right time to be able to do it. What role in that decision did the price of it come into account?
Obviously, it came into an account. It came into account. You know, it's no matter what way you spin it, and no matter what level you are at as a photographer, whether you're working, you know, for free or whether you're getting £10,000 gigs paid for you, buying a new camera is a big outlay. You know, and that's the same for everyone across the board. So I think that, you know, it is an important thing that does, you know, it does play a part in the decision you make. But in the same way, if you are wanting to always, you know, you're wanting to improve, anyone who does anything hobby-wise, art-wise, sport-wise, anything you do that you're doing for you, you want to improve at, you want to get better, you want to understand it more. And I think that rolling with the new tech is part of that. In the same sense, I am completely over the moon that I started off with an old DSLR rather than going straight into mirrorless, because it taught me the fundamentals a lot more. Because to get the same picture quality that I can get with the mirrorless, in terms of the little things like the dynamic range in the sky and the focus, I had to put so much more effort into learning it with the DSLR.
Well, it's something that I've approached now like quite a few times on the channel, and that is used cameras these days. They are going for such great quality, especially older DSLRs, right? So you can pick up a 5D Mark III, which when I was doing photography was the camera to get, for some cases under 500 quid.
Yeah.
But that's very much a place for people to start. It's not necessarily where you're going to end up, but if you just want to like put like, you know, just start out with a maybe more professional orientated camera, you can do that for not too much money. And yes, DSLRs really give you the ability to learn, and I think to a certain extent film photography is actually one to do as well, because it teaches you to be more patient, more understanding of the light you're in. It gives you a lot of limitations, and DSLRs, although when I started out they didn't give you limitations because they were the ones to get, you know, they're a great way to start off and start learning and actually truly build up your skill just in general, and then jump into a mirrorless. Although mirrorless does give you a lot of functionality and understanding of what the photos are ultimately going to look like, sometimes it's nicer to actually start off with limitations and learn to exceed those limitations over time. And it's a skill that's really good to learn just with photography in general.
Yeah, so definitely something. I think moving to mirrorless now, I've got much more understanding of how to manipulate what's going to be shown on an image, and I don't think I'd have got that to the same level had I started on a mirrorless camera, because it does so much more for you without you having to work for it. I was looking through the other day, and what I think in terms of this camera and my past camera is my worst photos now in terms of when I look at them and I'm like, oh, I should.
At Camera Centre UK, we do a lot of new and used gear. This gives you the opportunity to go for the newest and greatest piece of technology, or have a look at something a little bit older. At the end of the day, you can get some really great cameras for not too much money. A full frame camera can actually cost you around £200 to £300, and it's a great way to at least start doing photography. So make sure you go check out our used selection over on cameracenteruk.com. And well, let's continue.
Have done that better are at about the level of kind of the ones that are okay in my last one. So kind of it's literally the effort. It's the effort. I think the amount of effort it takes me to get the certain quality picture is a lot less. So did I take pictures with my old DSLR that were as good as some of the best pictures I'm getting with this? Yes, I did. You know, I've got a couple that I really like from that, but to get to that level took me so much more effort with that than it does with this, and I think that's the difference.
Yeah, no, exactly. These tools only make the process easier, which I think is important in and of itself, because making the process easier for you to do means you're most likely going to do it more, right? But DSLRs are a great way to really start. So do you know the difference between a mirrorless camera and a DSLR camera?
Yeah, there's no mirror. It's straight to the sensor.
So, of course, like SLR means single lens reflex. Did you know there's actually TLRs as well?
Yeah.
Which are called twin lens reflex.
Yeah.
That's a video for another day. But SLRs in particular, single lens reflex and digital, obviously is a digital version of that. Mirrorless cameras don't actually have that because they can generate both the EVF and everything via the camera itself. But, you know, it's nice to see the technology kind of advance. And ironically, this is kind of just like pure and utter tangent now. Do you know the first person to introduce a non-mirrorless system?
No.
Yeah, like so like a mirrored system, like with something that had a mirrored system, but it wasn't like the reflex of it. It was Canon. Canon really introduced this thing called an SLT for film cameras.
Okay.
And that's single lens translucent. So instead of a mirror popping up and down, you have a translucent thing that goes straight through.
Okay, yeah.
They then abandoned that, and then Sony picked it up. And then Sony then created the A-mount system, and then straight into the mirrorless system. And, you know, just a little bit of like camera. I'm a nerd. I'm sorry. I'm just a nerd. Any questions that you would have other than that when it comes to the switch between mirrorless and
No, I think the
digital?
other thing that's worth making people aware of, though, obviously, I touched on it earlier on that the kind of, especially with Canon, the lenses for the mirrorless system are really expensive. But from my experiences now over the last couple of weeks using an adapter, so I've kept hold of my 70 to 200 lens. I'm still using my old EF lens on that, and using the adapter, there's no difference in quality.
Oh, really?
No,
good.
I think from what I've read and not from what I've experienced, if you were doing something like sports photography where you
That's
needed
something
really
we actually
quick,
haven't touched on, is the adapter.
yeah, so I think if you were doing quick photography, so sports photography, for example, you may have a difficulty because I think it minimises the shutter rate.
The benefit of actually of you switching from a Canon DSLR to a Canon mirrorless is that the adapter for it is actually own brand.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
So the only benefit you'll see when it comes to autofocus between that is the kind of like new evolution of focus motors inside of the actual lenses themselves.
So
they'll be a little bit quicker.
It's more the shutter speed, I think, is
because it's
slightly,
Canon and you're using Canon lenses.
Yeah.
Slows shutter speed, does it? That's
A little bit, not hugely.
Yeah.
So for someone, for someone who's doing event photography where there's not massively fast moving, you're not going to notice the difference from everything I've seen. I think if you were doing motorsports, for example,
might start seeing it.
Yeah. But beyond that, I think the adapter is absolutely incredible, and it saved me a couple of grand, and I can.
At Camera Centre UK, we really care about our customers, and we want to make sure that you have the happiest time and the easiest ride possible for you to be able to start taking photos, doing video, and just enjoying being creative. Because that's what it is at the end of the day. It's being creative. Well, I hope to see you at cameracenteruk.com.
Exactly. I can wait till I've got the money.
Exactly. So, like, when it comes to the conversion between having a DSLR and mirrorless, if you go own brand, you can have a look at an adapter. It makes that kind of process a little bit cheaper for yourself, and you can still use some of the lenses that you actually originally had anyway. But you did end up getting yourself a 50mm STM mirrorless.
Exactly, a like-for-like switch from my old EF lens. The weatherproofing, it literally boiled down to that. I'm out and about shooting stranger portraits. There's a lot of, we got caught in the rain on the day that I got the camera actually, and for me that was it's likely to happen all the time.
I think there's an upgrade in quality with it, because I believe the previous Nifty 50 actually used a plastic lens. I believe it's glass when it comes to this one. So and like you said, you saw a definite increase in sharpness and quality of the images. When you're looking at mirrorless cameras, make sure you have a look at adapters, really great. Older lenses. That's the other great thing about mirrorless cameras, is that you actually have the ability to adapt every lens, pretty much. And then with certain manufacturers like Nikon, you can actually adapt all of the mirrorless lenses as well, which is a bit crazy. Which opens you up to really affordable lens options and a bit more creativity. So, for example, film legacy lenses. So these are lenses from old film cameras. You can actually then adapt onto your new mirrorless camera and get some really cool, more filmic orientated photos.
The other thing as well,
might be something you'd be quite interested in.
Yeah, I think the other thing that's worth saying with lenses as well is the being able to use third-party companies are starting to speak to Canon now, because obviously there's RFS lenses that are third-party, but the RF ones aren't. But it looks likely that they are starting to reach agreements with Canon to do it.
I think the day of Sony being one of the biggest, I mean, it's still going to be one of the biggest mirrorless manufacturers and one of the most popular, but Canon and Nikon have started to really open up the door for using third-party lenses. And if I'm looking at systems these days, I would really recommend having a look at third-party options for yourself, because not only can you get some more kind of like weird lenses that are kind of like better focal lengths, like Sigma, fantastic. They've got a lens that's a 28 to 45mm, and it's an f1.8 across the board. So it gives you like an option to test out something a little bit different, and in many cases in a lot more affordable price. Hi. Is there anything you want to say while we finish off this particular podcast?
No, I think
we've. Do you believe we've covered everything?
I think we've
covered your new baby.
Covered my baby.
Amazing. If you enjoyed this podcast and if you enjoyed the setting we're actually in, then please, give us a like, give us a follow. Follow me, Firby DOP, and follow Tom.
Point of order, Firby did say we're at Roath Park, but we're actually at Butte Park.
Oh, I did, didn't I?
Yeah.
I've lived in Cardiff so long now, I should really know that. We're in Butte Park today. Maybe we'll go to Roth and do it
We're
there.
gonna have to now, yeah.
We might be interrupted by
Get attacked
swans.
by geese.
Yeah, and geese, definitely. But they're lovely. They're lovely. You know, can't fault them. Yeah, so we're in Butte Park today. That's cool. There was one last thing. Oh, of course. This is going to be released on this weekend. Can't remember what the date is. But we've got Black Friday coming up this month. So if you're actually looking to change from your DSLR to a mirrorless camera, then now is really the time to really start looking at that. And, you know, maybe take the plunge. All the brands are giving us some really great deals this year. So make sure you check them out over at Camera Centre UK. And, well, hopefully see you there.
Yeah.
Awesome. Did you enjoy getting your camera for Camera Centre?
I did.
Yeah?
It was a painless.
Painless experience.
I mean, in all honesty, Camera Centre are probably they're one of the most respected camera companies in the country.
Oh,
And
thank you.
you look at the reviews; they speak for themselves. So
Thank you.
Regardless of
And he's not even getting paid to do
no,
that.
regardless of
I
obviously,
just kidnap him every day when he's in and just be like, hey, do you want to do something? So that's good. Yeah, I'm glad you had a good experience. And, you know, let us know your experiences. Any questions in down below. Hopefully we'll make a podcast with it in the future. And like I said, like, follow, subscribe, give us a follow. All the links and stuff will be down below. And we'll see you next time. Have a good day. How long was that? 23 minutes.